All right, greetings. In the name of Yahweh, on the name and authority of Yahshua Messiah, and direction of the Holy Spirit. I'm hoping everybody is enjoying the new moon. It's been a wonderful experience for me. I can say that much. I'm enjoying it. I really am. I have a lot of things I'm actually able to work on and take care of my leisure. But straight to the topic at hand. This particular video here is going to be aimed at the silent wars. The silent wars, otherwise known as frequency wars. Now, they wrote journals on this, and they are in the government printing office. The government printing office press about frequency wars, or otherwise silence wars. Silent wars. These silent wars are frequency wars. Now, to just kind of give everybody a little bit of input on where I'm finna take this particular message, it is understanding that the realm that we are in is but frequencies. This has been the very thing that religion and pre-programming has designed to stop you from being able to connect with the frequencies that will push you out of this realm. Yes. Now, in order for you, after you, should I say, step on the path of spiritual enlightenment, we know this to be the archetype of what we call the dark night of the soul, in which was mentioned in one of my earlier videos back in 2023. Now, when I started to use that term, that was not a new term. I like to say that was not a new term. I coined that term from studying the book of Job, okay, and the spiritual meaning behind the script, the text. Now, my use of the dark night of the soul was coined from spiritual retreats. Spiritual retreats, where, you may want to know, they were spiritual retreats that the Catholic Church used when they had prayer retreats that lasted, 1 to 3 days, where people went in and prayed. They had people helping them focus on certain parts of the things that they needed healing from, okay? And there was actually a text that was often referred to, that was used by a lot of the clergy that I was around a long time ago when I used to be in that particular arena. That shadow work, okay? That shadow work, which was actually you facing off with your shadow self, the dark night of the soul, all right, came from an inner development that was a journey that you have to take to find yourself. It's one that is totally removed. So I just needed to say that this is where I actually got the term dark night of the soul. But back to the topic at hand. Frequency wars. This particular realm that we live in, we have our being, is of the frequency. All right. And I don't want anybody to be confused or misconstruing how I'm describing this. This realm is like an asteroid realm. Now, for those who are into science and astronomy, know that when you go up and you go out into space, all right, so many miles away from the Earth, when you're headed towards certain other stellar lights, planets, you run into what they call an asteroid field. That asteroid field is actually what separates our galaxy from some of the greater galaxies, because we aren't the only galaxy that exists. It's just that our scientists can only make sense of this particular reality, some of which they can only make this type of reality relevant in their essays, all right, in their discoveries, and their otherwise scholarly curricula. Now, some of them know that there is a galaxy beyond, but where I want to point your attention to is Earth is like a middle planet, okay? It is a pivot between either going backwards or going forward, all right? Well, the Earth is supposed to be moving further forward, to not actually be the medium planet to incarnate into, to try to incarnate into another higher realm. That is, if a person is trying to not return back to this particular planet. So with saying that, being that the Earth is a buffer to being able to ascend, that leads me only to say one thing. This realm is a school, and it is dominated by a satanic frequency. All right? You, me, all of us have lived our lives in a satanic frequency, in a program that we didn't understand, which would make you come back over and over and over until you got the lesson. Now, does that mean that you can't enjoy life? Does that mean that there's no substance to life? There's nothing beneficial that can come out of the experience? No, that doesn't mean that. What that means is your spiritual development is predicated on the fact of you being able to learn how to navigate through the satanic frequency in this realm and not be consumed by it. That is what you're supposed to be working on. Because you can't ascend until you know how to move and vibrate higher than the satanic frequency that you live in. Meaning that just because you ascended don't mean the satanic frequency of the realm is going to disappear. All right? For instance, you can move above the frequency and evolve. But everybody that has not will continue to operate on that frequency. Another thing you have to know is just because you learned how to operate in this satanic frequency by discovering the God within inside of you, all right, it doesn't stop you from interacting with others who are trapped or still encased in their cocoon in this program. All right? you're still going to be dealing with people on the satanic frequency. But once your frequency elevates, now you see the playing field from a much more higher plateau. Now you don't have to select the choices that most people who are moving in the satanic frequency have at their disposal, but you have new solutions at your disposal on how to go about and dispose of your affairs, because your frequency doesn't fit in with the satanic frequency. So you move above it, but it does not nullify or eradicate the frequency that you're living in. I need y'all to pay attention and ponder that, all right? Because when you go into the dark night of the soul, and I'd like to say this because there's a lot of misconstrued perceptions on the dark night of the soul. There is not one dark night of the soul. From now until time you get ready to leave this plane, you have what they call you have intervals of the dark night of the soul. And as you expand and you grow and you excel, they don't come the same way that the previous one did. Everyone it meets them on the frequency that they're on. So meaning that there is a test. The test is a shadow work. All right? It is a shadow work review to each level. So when people come out, if you catch people stepping out, telling me, I did my shadow work, I'm good, I'm healed and all that, that means that they are not ready to move to the next level because they believe that the one shadow work they did was all that they have to do. And that's not true. With each level, with each degree that you move higher into the higher vibrancy of the frequency, now that you learn how to set in the satanic frequency and not be consumed by it in order to operate in the most highest frequency, all right, there are still degrees above that. There's levels above that you move into. And as you move into them, you have what they call a shadow work review to test to see that do you really comprehend and did you really make the adjustments needed for your frequency to grow and expand. But y'all stay tuned. I love y'all. That's it.